Evening everybody. A bit of a special one for you this evening. I say special, it's only special if you're in the UK. This is the Meccano Maker System Boeing 787 Dreamliner set, and it is not available directly in the UK from UK based suppliers either on the high street or the internet. As usual, Amazon France is the place to go, or at least one place. Of course, the problem being though, going that route, generally it's more expensive, as you can appreciate. Sometimes it isn't, for varying reasons. My first Meccano Tower Crane set from 2016, or was it 2015 now, cost quite a bit of money, nearly 300 quid I think it was, but the postage was only 7 quid and it was here within 3 days. This one though, not much choice. Incidentally, the tower crane is available very cheaply now for about 100 and I think it works out about 150 quid posted now. So yes, you've still got the 40 parts, or possibly 40 parts, but it's a good buy for doing your own thing with the build, or just for parts itself. Again, that's Amazon France. This one though was from us via Amazon France, but it was a company or a site called Frog Studio. Now I did do other searches, and the only other places I found where I could get this were from Toys R Us in Denmark, and I think it was Toys R Us in Israel, but don't hold me to that one. There was other places in the States, but I thought by the time I've done it that way direct with them and added the cost of postage and the cost of import duty, whatever it is, I think that worked out about 15 quid on top, and the postage, I wasn't very far off the price. Now I'll tell you the price roughly, and it was far more than it's worth really, but just for you folks and mine, I do like the look of it, but I paid a bit too much really. This is a $50 set in the States, and by the time I got it here via Amazon France, it was just over 100 quid, including, as I found out, although it's from Amazon France, it actually come from Walmart in the States in the end. So there was a $15 charge on top. There was a nearly $22 postage charge on top of the 50, and probably something to get it into the country. So in other words, the price I paid, the £105 pounds, was all that all in one price, already taken care of, if you like. So if you want one in the UK, you're going to have to pay about twice the normal price in the States. Now we have been used to paying more over here than other places anyway, but of course all the additionals, the postage and that, will whack it straight up. And I could have bought this for 85 quid well, autumn last year, 2016, but I didn't, because I thought it was expensive then, and there ain't that many people flogging it, it seems. Now to me, this set is akin, in some ways, to a Meccano aeroplane construction outfit from pre-World War II. And of course there was the cars as well. I am no expert at all on those. I do like the look of them, I don't like the prices. They are fetching anywhere between, I don't know, 250 to maybe even 600 sometimes. Very nice as they are, but they are more of a builder model plane or car than a normal traditional Meccano set, and so is this. What passes for traditional these days, which of course has changed somewhat over the years, this is a little bit different to those. Okay, there are other one model sets, but this one is more of a purpose, I wouldn't say purpose built set, but purpose to build set, if you like. We're going to have plastic parts, there's no doubt about that these days, as well as some metal of course, as we can see from the image. But it is more of akin to making planes than making anything else really. I dare say there will be another use for some of the parts. Somebody will come up with something apart from a plane, I dare say, but a little bit more difficult of course. So from that respect, I suppose the parts, or the purpose of the parts, very akin to those pre-war aeroplane and motorcar construction outfits. Of course, there will be people out there who'll say absolute rubbish. Well, maybe so, but it is a plane set, and it's got parts specifically shaped and made to make building the plane more easier and, dare I say, more realistic, I suppose. And from that point of view, to my mind, it's very similar. And perhaps it would have been nice to actually put these in a old style box, or something akin to old style box, but well, of course that puts the price up. Right, enough waffle about what I think about it in that respect. What do I think about it so far in its own respect? Well, so far so good. As I've said before, what I've paid is probably twice as much as you could get it for, but needs must, I suppose. And if I was going to get one, I was going to have to pay through the nose for it a bit. Needless to say, I won't be buying that many. In fact, I won't be buying any more. Not at this price. 10 plus years, 304 parts. It's got the, well, what was the standard newer flat box, and it should be a Chinese made set, and it is. Box, it's not light, but it ain't that heavy. What have we got then? Well, you can probably read for yourself, but I'll just go through them. We've got navigational lights on it, so we need 3 batteries, 3 AAAs. Functioning landing gear, apparently. And that is your lot. That is about it. It's an officially licensed product from Boeing, or tied in with Boeing, I suppose. And like all the other ones, the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, of course that costs more as well, I dare say, and has to go through certain passes, like is the product good enough and all that, I suppose. But nice to see something a little bit different. Against it, of course, in the UK is the cost. But it is something a little different, and I know a few people that this might sort of tweak their interest in Meccano, if you like, at least to having a go. It's a shame that getting the sets over here is a little bit difficult. The tower crane has been, well, easy. The last one I ordered was, I don't know, a week, and it was here. But enough waffle on the box. I don't think there's anything else to tell you there. Let's have a look inside. Right then, folks, you'll see this at the same time I will for the first time. I suppose some of it will fall out, but let's have a look. Yep, some of it will fall out. There we are. A reasonably well loaded up box of parts. We have got here the battery box and the lights. Any new parts we'll have a look at a bit later. We've got several fuselage parts, looks like tail and nose for the most part. Again, we'll have a look at some of those. Looking at it just now, the plastic parts look very similar to the plastic used in the Space Quest set, the 15 model Space Quest set from about 12 months, 18 months ago. They're good quality parts. Again, more plastic fuselage parts, which are going to form the bulk of the model. The tools. Presumably wing infill parts, which are plastic. Flexible, look better quality than the normal flip-flop sort of parts. Some thicker than others. Wing infill, tail and that sort of thing. Which are the majority of the, well, I say the majority, quite a lot of the parts. Right, not new now, of course. We've got some narrow strips, some 1/4 inch holes spaced, some not. We've got that new push-on plastic clip in white this time. That's the first sign of those in white, and also can be used as a plastic nut for light use, you'll say. The quick snaps in white there, and again in white the little push-in clips for the wiring of the lights. We've got some of the longer nuts and bolts from 9mm, look mostly 9mm, might be all 9mm except for some 14.7mm there by the looks of it. We'll have a look in the instructions parts list. Ah, well, I know it's only narrow and I know a lot of it is plastic, but we have a decent amount of metal in the set. narrow strips, all of it is, I think. We've got some mostly standard 1/2 inch hole spacing, some, there is a angle bracket there of the standard variety, some 1/4 inch hole stuff, but mostly the narrow stuff, and a quick look suggests they've got cracking Meccano stamps on them. Ooh, and decent zinc, which I think you can tell that by the shine in the main. Small bag of rubber grommets, large and small, or standard and small I suppose, black and the almost white ones. Washers. Standard nuts and bolts. And, I like to see this, a nice sleeve, I'll just put the box down there, a nice sleeve for the instructions and anything else in the form of paperwork. Always like to see that. More so with the bigger ones, but always good. It's a nice touch. So then folks, inside the sleeve with the instructions, of course not much use to the UK, but that is the customer care telephone number. It does list other numbers on there, but the large one is North America. And stickers for the engine, jets, windows for the nose, and other labelling for the plane, Boeing, etc. Instructions then. Well, this is a Chinese set, so we always seem to get a slightly better finish and layout, or well, not so much layout, but overall put together well, or better, slightly better than the French ones, of course. So there we are, nice image, fairly glossy, nice stitching along here, all the way along, and just for the newer viewers or newer people into Meccano, or those wishing to get into Meccano, there's your tips and how-tos. The next page tells you, amongst all sorts of FCC statement for the US and in different languages, of course, for South America, I dare say. You got the plane, and that's the only one from the set, of course. Any others where you got multiple models, you'll have extra ones there, some in the instruction book and the rest that you can download. But of course, it's only one model set, so you've only got the one, of course. A couple of pages in, how to load the batteries into the box, the battery box and switch for the lights. Again, oh no, I say again, haha. The last one I looked at like this, or rather that had lights, which was the Eiffel Tower Set, needed a screwdriver to get in the battery box. Nice to see that this one is back to using the Meccano bolt head to hold the battery box lid on, therefore you don't need any more tools. Instructions then. Now white on white is always going to be a bit of a problem, but we'll just grab a couple of pages at random. It is page 7 with stages 2 and 3 on. Looks like you start with the lights on this one as well by the looks of it, and start putting probably the first or second section behind the nose together first, which is, sounds familiar, or looks familiar to the Concorde set. That's quite an old set now. Very clear instructions, very clear indeed so far. Look quite decent. Some of the colours look a bit odd, like the strips. I'll just show you there. The strips don't look particularly like zinc, I suppose. They look very similar to the plastic fuselage parts. We're getting a little bit more involved now. This is page 11, as you can see, but it all looks fairly clear. Of course, the best way to find any mistakes is to get on with it, which I shall be probably in a couple of days' time. The Brooklyn Bridges will be put on the back burner yet again, unfortunately, but that one has been around for some time. Got some more shall we say involved there instructions. Nothing too crazy by the looks of things, nothing too head scratching. Just turn over a few more pages. Starting to put the wings together here, towards the wing tips. But yeah, looks okay. Of course, there ain't no real need for white outlining, is there? You might say black outlining, but it's all pretty good in the grey. We'll have one more look at the page. Let's have a look. Yeah, 43 there on the wings, putting the engine on, or part of the engine. And how many stages have we got? 56. The last stage is putting the transfers stickers on. There we are. And it's going to be a reasonable sized aircraft. Looking at that, we're yet to see how long it's going to be, but I would say a good foot long. What do you guess? Right, parts then. Of course, all the fuselage parts are new. Bespoke, I suppose, is the word you might call or use for these parts. We've got all those down here, wing parts. That one there is a modern version, I suppose, and we may have already seen that in some of the Ferrari sets of the tin flexible triangular plate. We've got 8, I'm guessing 4.5 inch narrow strips. That's handy. Several other strips, not massive amount of them. 13 narrow fish plates, and that's handy. 4 narrow angle brackets and just 2 standard angle brackets. Bolts wise then, and again not a vast amount, but not too bad. 56 standard bolts and 73 nuts, and only 8 washers, but again not too bad for a modern set, I suppose. So 56 bolts, 73 nuts. Yeah, about, I don't know, about 2.5 quid, 3 quid's worth of fixings at a guess. And that's it really. We've got round axles. You can see there, 1 inch round axles. And that's about your lot. Let's have a look at some of the newer parts then. A selection of the new parts. Mostly fuselage, plus the nose, part of the tail, or part of the nose, part of the tail, the battery box and the lights, and a couple of examples of the parts for the wings, the infill for the wings. So first of all, let's start with those wing parts, and as you can see, they are obviously white, plastic, slightly flexible, I wouldn't go too far, fairly thick on the scheme of things, not as thick as some of the plastic parts of course, and very few holes for added realism I suppose, rather like the pre-war mechanised army set where you didn't have so many holes. Here's another larger piece. This is the largest piece of the separate wing infills, if you like. Again, it's quite thick, slightly flexible, but not overly so. It's quite a bit of those parts included. The nose here, or 1/2 of the nose, as you can see, it's quite thick with just the holes you need, and of course there's the other half to it as well. The tail, part of the tail, more holes in that section, again thick, well made, well moulded I presume. In the same vein, these are all pretty similar. I think they are exactly the same. The sections, this is just one side and one of 3 per side, 6 in all of course, for the fuselage sections. Again, it's well made, thick, not bendy at all, solid, good quality. Now, one of the Meccano Zone Facebook page members was discussing the shall we say specialised use parts such as these for making aircraft, where I suggested that, well, maybe somebody somewhere will come up with something, and he said maybe if the holes for the windows are the same size as the slots in Meccano parts, or the slotted holes in Meccano parts. Well, looking at the image I thought surely not. but oh yes they are. Look at that. Excellent. So that's something to maybe make you think. And lastly, the new parts, or the brand new parts, and I won't bother boring you with the variations of colours in the parts that have already been around for a while. The battery box, just on off switch, 4 lights. We've got 2 what'll be presumably white lights and a red and green light. And just to prove it, there we are. The battery box lid is secured by a screw with a Meccano Allen bolt head. Excellent. And that's about it, folks. The new part, of course, multiples of. So there you go, folks. The Meccano Maker System Boeing 787 Dreamliner set. $50 if you're in the US, and over in the UK, at the moment anyway, you're looking at about double that or just over to get one. But looks decent quality. The zinc looks really decent quality as well. Good Meccano stamping. Of course, we'll all find out once I've built it exactly what it's like, and hopefully that'll be in a couple of days' time. Bye for now, folks.